Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to
Heyo.
another rip-roaring... What would you call this? Is this a frolic or is this a romp?
This is definitely a romp. Shane. This is a humidity. It's 90 degrees outside, but with the humidity, it's 112 romp into insanity. In the Michael Bay mind-melting, back-sweating bikinis, Manino Amiani romp in Miami with Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? And oh, you. Yeah, that's me getting into it.
Yeah, well, so clearly you got way into it. I'm a little bit excited now.
Well, I'm excited because Sharon and I were out to dinner tonight for my music lesson. And I was just laughing my ass off in the restaurant at just how this movie was burning your soul.
Yeah.
I was loving it because you chose it.
This
was your choice.
I did. Now, I still defend that choice because, every movie isn't going to be great. And I think that if we're going to devote an entire month to Will Smith, that Bad Boys, it's hard to ignore that film because it is such a successful film in terms of financial gain, and it's in terms of a franchise, it's about to spawn its third film. So I mean, I feel like we would do ourselves and other Will Smithonians a disservice if we ignored it.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I mean, let's be honest here. Even Ian McClellan, he did Last Action Hero, so Will Smith did Bad Boys.
Right. Even Leonardo DiCaprio did The Beach.
Oh, wow. Hey, Leonardo DiCaprio did Critters 3. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. Even Tom Hanks did a lot of things in the 80s that he probably would rather not talk about.
Money Pit, Joe versus the Volcano, Bosom Buddies, that one guest spot on Family Ties where he was never seen or heard from again.
You know what's really funny to me?
What?
You know that movie Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald?
Yes, I do.
Norm Macdonald on the cover, like on the poster for Dirty Work, looks like Tom Hanks in the 1980s.
Doesn't he? His hair is just not out as far, but he still sort of has that same perm.
Because if you look at Tom Hanks on any of those posters from the 80s, he's always like hands in his pockets leaning against something.
Yeah, I'm too cool to not have my hands out of my pockets.
Right,
I've
yeah.
got change in here, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in these pockets, and it's not for you guys.
It's only for one lucky lady. It's 2019.
I was thinking earlier when I was watching Bad Boys, I was thinking, every week we come in and we say, Bryan, I'm 0 days sober, I'm a plotaholic, I just consumed a plot today, I watched whatever, right?
Yeah.
Today, Bryan, I feel like I've hit rock bottom.
Oh my God. You need a meeting.
I feel like Bad Boys is the first time in the run of the Plotaholics where I feel like no more. Let's not do any more.
Wow. You didn't feel like that with Troll 2?
No, and this is the thing, and I want to do our ratings at the top again because I think that gives us a jumping off point.
Okay.
Here's the thing. This is something that we haven't talked a lot about on the podcast, but it's something that we talked a lot about before we ever started the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's this theory that I have that I call the deep blue sea threshold.
Okay. Give it to me. Give it, because it's been a while since we talked about the deep blue sea threshold.
Yeah.
The DBT, as I'm going to start calling it.
Yes. The deep blue sea threshold. Deep Blue Sea, of course, the film, the 1999 movie, shark movie where they're trying to cure Alzheimer's by isolating a bunch of sharks and injecting them with some kind of medicine. And all the sharks get super smart.
Samuel Jackson tries to rally us and gets
right. Yeah.
I'm rallying you. I'm pumped. And my leader's dead.
So the theory of the deep blue sea threshold is that a movie is created and it has all of the elements of a movie that should be a lot of fun to watch, but it somehow ends up taking itself too seriously.
Yeah. This movie did more than just take itself seriously. You know what this movie is? This movie is like, you remember on the Howard Stern show when Stuttering John would go and interview these famous people and they would get super pissed off because they took themselves super seriously.
Yeah.
And then Howard and the crew would make fun of them. That is this movie. This movie is every Hollywood person that Stuttering John went to interview.
Yeah,
this movie is Raquel Welch.
We talked at some point, we were mentioning, wouldn't it be funny if, this was on the live show this week, wouldn't it be funny if they made, it's so weird to even mention this again, if they remade Parent Trap with Peter Dinklage and Danny DeVito as the children with Benjamin Button disease. And I kept thinking that this movie was like totally taking the thunder from Freaky Friday.
It really was.
Like, I know that this movie is about like trying to get these drugs back, but a huge part of the plot of this movie is Martin Lawrence and Will Smith pretending to be each other.
Yeah, and it's like, oh God,
and honestly, man,
this hurts.
This is the part of the plot that hurt me the most because there's no reason for it.
No, there really isn't. Like, this whole movie could have been adjusted just by saying, well, you know what? Let's go into our ratings and then I'll go to that point.
Yeah, let's have
Shane, let's get Smiley to tell us what, for those of you who don't know the rating system or you're just a glutton for Smiley's punishment, let's hear what Smiley, let Smiley tell you about our rating system.
The Plotaholics rating system for the movies is a pretty simple system. Basically, they rate movies based on how many shots it takes to get through them. So if you got a good movie and you get through it all the way sober, then it takes 0 shots to get through the movie. And then if you got a really bad movie, then it could take up to 5 shots to get through the whole thing. I think you can try to figure out the middle part yourself. So what can I get you?
Okay, Brian. Go ahead.
All right. So after watching this movie, because I have to admit, I thought I owned this, and then I realized how thankful I was that I don't. I rented this for free off of Fios TV.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it, and I looked at Sharon, and I said, wow. And she goes, do you appreciate it more? I was like, this would be a 5-shot movie if it wasn't for the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God. How do I hate this movie? Let me count the ways.
Yeah, I don't. And I, not to cut you off because I know you're about to lay it on us.
Yeah, go ahead. Interject.
But I just kept thinking, I was like, how are there 2 more of these?
That's what I want to know, because the second movie is incoherent as the first one. The only joke in the second movie that's not in the first one is them threatening Martin Lawrence's daughter's date in the second one. He's like, You ever had you ever been to prison? You ever had a man get you in the ass? No. Want to? And it's like,
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, there's a lot that we are going to say probably
yeah.
about the jokes in this movie and
Oh
how
my
they are
God.
not good.
There are certain times where I'm really waiting for Napoleon Dynamite just go,
Right, yeah. But yeah, sorry,
So,
go ahead with your rating. My bad.
no, please. This movie is, by and large, it's a Michael Bay film, which means it is a 5-shot movie automatically.
And we work
Because,
backwards from there.
yeah, because if Michael Bay is attached to your movie, automatic 5-shot movie. That's my new rule, Shane.
This was Michael Bay's debut.
And we should have
We should have known.
We should have known. He gave us everything.
Yeah.
And he has not grown at all. The only difference between Michael Bay then and Michael Bay now is the fact that Michael Bay at least had a pretty funny cameo in Mystery Men, the 1999-2000 film with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Which made me not want to throw a rock at him.
But man, his visual aesthetic is just...
It's horrible. It's all explosions. It's explosions. Yeah. It's explosions mixed with misogyny, mixed with homophobia.
Also, tell me...
mixed with stereotypes. That's
tell
all.
Tell me how this movie wants so badly to be green, but it can't get its yellow scenes and its blue scenes together.
Oh my God Almighty! I swear, the first time I saw this movie, it's like, is Miami really just that color?
Is it yellow?
Is all of Miami just yellow? Is the humidity
in the daytime?
So bad?
Yeah, in the daytime, Miami is definitely yellow. Okay. And at night, it's definitely blue.
Okay. So at least in some aspects, Miami Vice didn't lie to me, because at night or in Miami Vice, it's always blue.
Yeah. Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, they're not using any lighting rigs or anything or filters. That's just the way that the moon shines on Miami.
Fair enough. So every time I watch so basically during Dolphins games,
yeah,
the Sunday night lights or the Sunday afternoon lights is what make it look like every other place in the world.
Right. Well, what's interesting about Miami Dolphins games is that when they play at night, they wear yellow jerseys so that the blue light will make them appear aqua. And when they play during the day, they wear blue jerseys so that the yellow air will make them look aqua.
Well, from what I heard after last Sunday, they're not going to have any players. They're going to end up having to get the high school teams.
I know. I was like, maybe I should pop down there and try out for a spot.
Oh my God, we can be like the Invincible of Miami if we did that.
Can you imagine?
Sunny episode.
Can you imagine if next Sunday you turn on the NFL and they're like, quick cut to the Miami Dolphins game. New acquisition, Shane Wilson has been murdered on the field.
So the towel boy went into the game and ran into a laundry list of trouble.
Oh,
better yet, no. Now at quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, footstep Shane Falco.
Yes.
With Clifford Washington as the wide receiver. Clifford Franklin as the wide receiver.
I love it. Man, when are we going to do a Keanu Reeves month so we can get into the replacements?
Oh, God, it's got to be soon, because the replacements is the film to end all film.
I love it. I love the replacements. All right, we got to do this. All right,
so anyway.
Your rating.
So this is a 5-shot movie. The only thing that makes this a 3-shot movie is the cast minus Martin Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Martin Lawrence takes this to a 4-shot movie, and that's the final rating that I give Bad Boys. 1995 Bad Boys, a 4-shot rating. Because like I said, now Sharon is looking at me like, you changed it, because I did say this is a 5-shot movie, but the cast makes it a 3-shot movie. And then I thought about it. And every time Martin Lawrence opens his mouth, I just want to drink Drano and bleach mixed with lime. Yeah. So this is a 4-shot movie. Now, and I blame Martin Lawrence and the plot and Michael Bay for that. Because this is a film that's a who's who of the mid 90s and mid 2000s. I mean, you know, give your rating and then I'll continue my point.
Yeah. So my rating on this, and this goes back to my thought on the Deep Blue Sea threshold. My personal opinion on the shot rating is that the worst rating you can give a movie is not a 5. I think that the worst rating you can give a movie is a 3, because a 3-shot movie is, you're not drunk enough to have a good time, you know, and you're not sober, and you're still drinking because it's not so good that you can be sober. Okay. You know what I mean? And so like it's the 3-shot movie to me, and this is just how I guess I view the shot rating on like more of a bell curve in some ways.
Okay.
Like a sort of, I guess, like a valley curve.
You are an educator, so.
Right. And so while Troll 2 is a 5-shot movie, Troll 2 is a better movie than Bad Boys because it's more fun to watch.
Yeah, what makes Troll 2 so terrible makes it fun.
Right, exactly.
Where Bad Boys is just, what in the actual fuck am I watching?
Right, and you have you have 2 comedians in the lead roles. I know that Will Smith is not a traditional comedian, but he is a comedic actor, at least at this point in his career.
Yeah, he was the Fresh Prince.
Right.
He was still the Fresh Prince.
And now, while Will Smith is believable as kind of like as a cop with an attitude in this film, Martin Lawrence never gets there for me.
Oh
and
my
so,
God. I can't believe Martin Lawrence at all in this movie. But
so the movie for me is a 3-shot rating because, and I think that it's worse than even like Masters of the Universe, because I had more fun watching Masters of the Universe than I had watching Bad Boys.
Fair enough.
and that's really what it boils down to me. So the way that I view the shot rating is, what was the movie trying to do, and did it succeed? Right. Bad Boys succeeded in making a very middle of the road action film, and you got a couple of good performances out of Will Smith and your boy Joe Pantoliano.
Pantoliano, yep, aka Cypher from The Matrix. Show some respect.
Right, yeah, word. Put some respect on his name.
Oh.
And I liked Tia Leoni, but I know you're not a fan.
She is annoying as balls in this movie. Oh my God. How many times is she going to make the same joke in this movie? Yeah, just ran into your friend Jim Brown over here. Yeah, just had a run-in with your man Action Jackson, but other than that, I'm fine. Shut up. Get some new material, would you please?
Well, I mean, look, man, I don't know. It's just so infuriating every time they have to pretend that Martin Lawrence is Will Smith and Will Smith is Martin Lawrence. Like, it makes me want to punch somebody in the face every time we get to one of those scenes where, like, okay, so to me, one of the funniest, I think Martin Lawrence's only time he made me laugh in this movie was when she looked at the column of pictures and they were all of Will Smith.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I thought they were just of your lover. No, that's my partner. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, not like, no.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it was only funny because it was only circumstantially funny. It wasn't funny because Martin Lawrence or Tia Leoni were actually funny. It was just circumstantially funny.
Right. It wasn't. I don't. It just.
You know, it was funny because it was in Will Smith's apartment, and it was a bunch of pictures of Will Smith, and you're like, well, of course that like narcissistic asshole would have a bunch of pictures. Like
right.
Like the fact that these two people are talking about it isn't even the thing that makes it funny. It's just the fact that he has all that stuff.
Right. And that's exactly and that's why it's funny, because it's a dig at how narcissistic Will Smith is in this movie. It has nothing to do with Martin Lawrence or Taylor. Yeah. It's just, wow. Even though Will Smith isn't even in the scene, he's right. Stealing the scene.
And because those pictures are like so clearly him.
Right.
So this is something that you were gonna talk about, I think, the cast before I.
Yeah. This cast is a who's who of big names in the mid 90s to the mid 2000s. Obviously, you got Will Smith. Tia Leoni, she has her audience, even though I don't like her.
I mean, I think that she's pretty, and You know, she reminded me. It's funny that you don't like her because she reminded me of the chick from Men in Black in a lot of ways.
And that's why I don't like her, because I didn't like Linda Fiorentino in that movie. I hated
Yeah,
her in that too. I hate her
I
in everything.
I still think that all of these people they should go back and they should do I don't know, some of that weird motion capture stuff, and they should have Claire Forlani superimposed into both of these movies.
Either Claire Forlani or Janine Garofalo.
Yeah, yeah.
With Jimmy Garoppolo as her bodyguard.
Oh man.
Garoppolo. I swear she needs to marry Jimmy Garoppolo just so she can be Garoppolo.
I swear that may be my favorite thing that happened during last week's podcast.
Oh, absolutely. That was the best. The Garoppolo phenomena. It's just that's just too much awesomeness for one being.
Yeah. Now she's clearly, I think, physically attractive, but you're right. Like her performance isn't anything to write home about.
It's really odd. It's annoying. It's just so irritating.
And when I say that I liked her, in spite of not liking her performance, that makes me sound like I'm auditioning for a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, it does. It's either that or you're like Kristen Stewart in the frickin' next Twilight movie.
Yeah. You know, I said this to you whenever we were chatting and you were at dinner. And this is specific to the villains in this movie. There are too many white people in this movie, Bryan.
Many white people.
This is the same problem I had with the first 2 or 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. I look at these white people and I'm like,
there's only one brother in all of Game of Thrones. One.
I know.
And he's only in the first season.
For real. Look, this is the deal with me in Game of Thrones. I had to watch it with a family tree, like a detailed family tree of all of the families with pictures to be able to tell all those old white men apart. Like it got a little easier when the old people started dying on Game of Thrones, and then I was just like, well, that's the blonde one, and that's the short one, and that's the fat one.
I did not remember. Only name that I knew was Jon Snow.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's just because it's like, wow.
Yeah.
He's white.
And try telling me who Jon Snow is if Rod Stark is on the screen.
It's true. They all look alike.
And so the villains, like the gang in this movie is like that. Every time that we have like the boss and the henchman on screen together, I'm like, which one of you are in charge? Because it's like I'm looking at a fun house of mirrors over here.
Well, the fat guy isn't in charge because he just sounds like an idiot.
Yeah.
There is
one fat guy. There is one fat guy.
He's your typical Brooklyn moron.
Yeah.
But it's a who's who. You figure you got Will Smith, Téa Leoni, who has her audience, Theresa Randle, who is gorgeous and was probably the only good part of Spawn, Joe Pantoliano, who, I mean, come on, Cypher, he's one of the Fratelli brothers.
Yeah, this dude is dialed up in this movie, though.
It's like he came on set and he's like, all right, Michael Bay, what do you need? Michael Bay just goes, listen here, Joe Pantoliano. I need you to go past the Garofalo power couple, and you see that whole mountain of Tony Montana-sized coke?
I was about to say.
Inhale all of it.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to say action.
Right.
If that is Joe Pantoliano throughout the whole movie.
I also got the sense in all of his scenes that his scenes weren't even written, that they were just like, here's a gram of coke. Now, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to shoot basketball.
And it's like he has no form. So he's like, I was like getting them all until you showed up.
Right.
Who the hell you weren't?
Yeah, that was a good scene, man. I enjoyed that scene.
It was a funny scene, but Martin Lawrence screws it up.
Yeah, and this is another scene where, this is the scene where I texted you, and I was like, wait, where did Will Smith get his concussion?
Oh God, it's so.
Because there's a good 20 minutes there where Will Smith isn't in it for a little while.
He's gone, and you notice he's gone.
Right, because Martin Lawrence goes and puts Téa Leoni in Will Smith's apartment.
And just leaves her there.
And leaves her there.
And I mean, it's like, well, I would have just left her. I would have taken her to the bus station and left her there because who cares? Her and her damn dogs. But It's like
Wasn't one of her dogs named Dookie?
Duke, yeah,
Duke.
Duke, who was crapping everywhere, and Luke, who was throwing up everywhere. It's like, you know what, lady, you and your dogs need to go.
Yeah, and we did talk a little bit about this off air, but let's get into. Well, are you talking about the cast still? I'm sorry, I keep
Yeah,
jumping
I'm
in.
sorry. I'm almost Marge Helgenberger, who was in. Hold on, let me get her character's name. She was in CSI. I'm just
she was
trying
the
to figure.
internal affairs chick.
Yeah, she plays the internal affairs captain in this movie, but she plays Catherine Willows in CSI. And I remember watching it then and it was like, my 16-year-old Bryan was like, she's hot. And then I saw her in CSI and I fell in love with her. Then I went back and watched this and was like, man, why'd they put her in this? and Nestor Serrano, who plays Detective Sanchez, you'll know him best. Well, some of you guys will know him. He was in The Negotiator with Samuel Jackson and Kevin Spacey. But he also played Fernando, a.k.a. Vinny, in Hanging with the Homeboys. For me, which is one of the best independent films ever shot. And it's like, well, yeah, he fits. He deserves to be in this crap. And then Michael Imperioli, they even pulled John the Spider Sally. They even pulled him into this. It's like, why? And then Tig from Sons of Anarchy. They pulled him into this, and you can't even find his name in the credits. He doesn't even want to be mentioned, and I don't blame him. And then you want to make the Keanu Reeves connection. Michael the Bear Taliaferro, the big black guy at the beginning that's in there with Kim Coates, aka Tig from Sons of Anarchy. He's in this as a carjacker. He's also Keanu Reeves' offensive lineman. So there's a lot of who's who in this movie. And if it wasn't for some of these people, I can't even say the guy's name, the guy that plays Fouchet in this, he's a cool movie because, he's an evil French dude. I love evil French people. The Merovingian is probably one of my favorite villains in The Matrix. Other than these people, this movie is shit. And so with the exception of these people, this is a 4-shot movie because Martin Lawrence ruins this. Martin Lawrence ruins every scene he's in. He's only in this movie to make Will Smith look good. That's the only reason why he's in this movie. He sucks.
I'm with you 100% on Martin Lawrence. He's never really done it for me, period. Really in anything.
The only movies that he was in that I enjoyed, Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, and he's literally he's only a supporting actor. He's a supporting character, but he's being Martin Lawrence.
Right.
And the David Alan Grier and Eddie Murphy combination sort of make him tolerable.
Yeah.
And then
I never even really liked his stand-up though.
I didn't like his stand-up either. I enjoyed him on Def Comedy Jam at the time because he was the original MC of Def Comedy Jam. But there were a lot of times where he'd come on stage and just be like, all right, man, get the comic out. I don't want to hear you.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it for me in this movie. Really, I think that we've kind of diagnosed it. Anytime Martin Lawrence is on the screen, I want to do anything but watch it. And so what happens then is I go do something else, and then all of these white guys come in here to steal a bunch of heroin, and I've missed the first couple of seconds of the next scene because I'm trying to not watch Martin Lawrence up this movie.
Everything about Martin Lawrence in this movie is annoying. He has no chemistry with Theresa Randle.
Also, he's clearly just can't act.
No, he cannot. All he can be is Martin Lawrence. And he's not likable. The only other movie that he's in that I really love is Life with Eddie Murphy. And that's because he plays the straight guy.
Right.
He's not Martin Lawrence. He's actually a square. Eddie Murphy even calls him that in the movie. He calls him a square.
Yeah.
That's the only time he's likable. But every other movie where he's trying to amp up and be, what is that? And all wild and crazy, it's like, yeah, go away. No one likes Tisha Campbell should have broken your nose on the set of Martin.
and Martin was another one that I just never really got into either.
I mean, I watched it as a kid because it was it was a big deal for
Right.
being in the
I
black
get
community
that
back
for
then.
sure.
But looking back, it's like F. Martin Lawrence. I don't like him. I'm sorry. I'm sure now that he's sort of been humbled over the last 15 years, I'm sure he's a much nicer person, and I'm sure he's probably a great guy.
Yeah.
But his screen presence, and it just doesn't do it for me.
Right. I want to to sort of drive this point home. I want to look at two scenes.
All right. Let's
where
those scenes.
I want to look first at the opening scene, where we open with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's characters driving in the car. And I don't want to go all the way through the carjacking. I just want to start with, like, to get a good sense. Their exchange, yeah, to get a good sense of the dialogue written by Michael Berry, Jim Mulholland, and Doug Richardson, who I am unfamiliar with any of their other work, but this is I think a good example of the kind of thing you're in for in this movie. And so we'll listen to that now.
Man, what is this having a picnic shit in my car, man?
Please, man. I'm not getting my sex at home. Don't deny me this.
What are you talking about? You sleep with a beautiful woman every night.
I'm married. That's what married means. It means you sleep together, but you can't get none.
Why don't you watch it with all that shit, all right?
Hey, look. Where's your cup holders?
I don't have one.
You mean you don't have one? $80,000 for this car and you ain't got no damn cup holder?
It's $105,000, and this happens to be one of the fastest production cars on the planet. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, sweetie. This is a limited edition.
You damn right it's limited. No cup holder, no back seat. Just a shiny dick with 2 chairs in it. I guess we the balls just dragging the fuck along.
And so the point that I want to make by playing that is how, oh man, you ever get the sense that these people watched Pulp Fiction and they wanted that kind of like back and forth, that Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta back and forth?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the dude's even eating a hamburger, right? Like, and so it's
just
a
tasty looking burger too.
It is a tasty looking burger, even though it's shot through a hellacious yellow filter. But the thing that struck me by this is I was like, this is dialogue written by people who think they know what natural dialogue sounds like. And they're trying to be witty and like Tarantino-esque maybe, and it just comes across as really stilted the whole way. I mean, like, I think the first line of the movie was Will Smith saying, "What is this? You're having a picnic in my car."
And you know what, though? That is typical because everyone has that friend who drives a nice car, and you're not allowed to eat in his car. You got to wipe your shoes before you get in his car. You can't slam his door when you get in or out of his car.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes I'm like that because when my stepson Jake gets out of my car, he slams the door, and I'm like, I have to resist the urge to be like, what are you doing? Don't be slammed. But it's a door.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be slammed.
It just also like, and while that is realistic, it's the delivery here and the exchange between Will Smith, who is in this film mostly charismatic, though I'll point out a scene in a minute where I feel like he kind of misses the mark a little bit.
Okay.
But for the most part, Will Smith absolutely is.
Smith is Razor Ramon in this movie. He is oozing machismo, chico.
For sure. And he's the charisma. He's the only thing in this movie that is smooth at all, that feels like it actually belongs here.
Dude, Will Smith makes my panties wet in this movie. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, good for you, I guess. You know who the real winner? You know who the real winner of this movie is? Will Smith's blue sports coat.
Yeah. Well, you know who the runner-up is?
Who's
Will
that?
Smith's dark blue silk button-up in that chase scene.
Yeah.
Where Will Smith is like, hey, let me show you how many cigarettes I don't smoke.
Right. Yeah, he loved, especially in the late 90s, loved scenes where he was just running around.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, we saw it last week in Men in Black.
Yeah.
We see it. It's like Oh, well, we're at the hour mark. That means Will's got to run.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just he
surprised Will
runs as
Smith
much as
hasn't-
Tom. He runs as much as Tom Cruise.
He runs as much as Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. I'm surprised Will Smith hasn't played Jesse Owens in a movie yet.
That's really funny. I think also that the ship has sailed on that one, but
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So the next thing I wanted to look at is another one where they're in the car. The car scenes are always interesting to me. This is where they interact with each other the most.
Right.
And last week in Men in Black, we got examples of really good dialogue and really, well, not good dialogue, but really witty banter back and forth.
Witty banter and shall we say, two charismatic individuals feeding off each other that have great chemistry.
Decent enough dialogue in the hands of really good performers can be serviceable, but weak dialogue in the hands of weak performers really starts to show, right? And so here I think you can see that
weak dialogue with a weak performer and a budding performer.
Right.
He is defaulting on his own charisma. It's like it's not even chuckle worthy.
Yeah.
It's like watching a reality show. Like when you pointed out the scene where, what is this having a picnic shit in my car?
Yeah.
I'm not getting my quality time at home. Don't deny me this. Like,
yeah, that's really the part of that scene is such a non sequitur. That's the part that really drives me crazy, is that he's equating eating a juicy burger with having sex with his wife. Like, is there a way that Michael Bay could have made it more clear that he views women as pieces of meat?
Sure. If the wrapping of the burger had titties.
Right. Or if the burger had, in like a CGI scene, had been washing a car in slow motion.
Yeah, pretty much. Wearing a bikini.
Yeah.
With My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard playing in the background.
Right. Yes.
It's just it's nonsensical, it's ridiculous. And then I think I know what scene you're talking about. Are you talking about the scene where Martin is driving and you drive slow enough to drive Miss Daisy?
Yeah, it's that scene, but it's later in that scene. It's where Martin he points out that a lot of the guys at the precinct claim that Will Smith's character just plays cop.
Such an exposition dump. That was you could have saw that. Like, honestly, that didn't even need to be said.
No, because it didn't add anything to either character.
No, it didn't. I mean, all right, I kind of like the character building of it tells you, like, all right, you see this narcissistic guy who dresses real sweet, driving $100,000 vehicle. Why would you be a cop? And I do like, that he's just committed to the job. But I kind of like that. But at the same token, you can tell how committed he is to the job just by how he's at crime scenes.
Yeah.
Even though now, let me take a step back. When they find the dead contractor.
Right.
That's another scene that was just irritating. I mean, keep in mind, I've said.
Well, let's pause that. Let's put a pin in that because I want to finish this like playing cop thought before we transition into the dead body, because I definitely have dead body stuff that I want to talk about too.
All right.
The playing cop thing it's when Will Smith's character responds to that accusation, and that to me is the only time in the movie where Will Smith is overacting.
Yeah, he's trying so hard to force emotion.
Yeah, let's listen.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's listen, and then you can finish your thought.
Relax, man. We got it before. We'll get it again.
Yeah, you got it all figured out, don't you?
Oh, you got to have faith, player.
Let me tell you something, all right? About time we figured out Howard to be out of a job. No, scratch that. Everybody in the damn unit will be out of a job. Oh, but don't worry. They tend to think Mike Lowry gonna be all right. Especially since they think you some rich kid playing cop. Look, man, I ain't got no trust fund, okay? See, for me, no job, no check. That's like all the other guys in the unit. At least most of us.
So I'm playing cop now. Yo, just a game. I'm just joking around.
You always wanted to be Starsky or Hutch.
You know what, man?
I'm so sick of this bullshit. What, I'm supposed to apologize for my family leaving me money? All I ever wanted to be was a cop. I get up early and I take it to the max every day. I'm the first guy through the door and I'm always the last guy to leave the crime scene. So you know what? Fuck you and fuck them and fuck everybody who got a problem with Mike Lowry. I love you, man. Fuck you, Marcus.
All right, go ahead and finish what you were going to say.
All right, so in that, it's like he's trying so hard to connect with us on an emotional level, but it's like you're doing, and this shows Will's inexperience
with more dramatic types of acting.
Right. I mean, this is easily before my favorite episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I'm pretty sure.
Right, but even then, like, even as powerful as Dad's Got a Brand New Excuse from The Fresh Prince, even as powerful as that episode is, at this point in Will Smith's career, drama equals loud.
Right. And it's not necessarily. He didn't realize that how unnecessary that was back then.
Yeah, and he does grow past that for sure. But
oh, absolutely. If you look at the way he is in Ali or especially iRobot.
Yeah, or The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, I was just getting ready to say that. Or even in Hancock. I mean, I'm sorry, the scene in Hancock where he talks about, when he was in the hospital, that was well done.
Yeah, he definitely grows past, like, the yelling at, like, I'm acting, like.
I'm pretending to be someone else.
Right, yeah, and that scene was the only time in the movie that Will Smith had that moment for me. Everything else, he's pretty much on point. Martin Lawrence does that for me every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, it's just like you're yelling unnecessarily. You're like, even the scene when Joe Pantoliano's shooting baskets, your favorite scene in the whole movie.
Right.
Where's
shoot basketball.
Well, where's the witness now? And he just points at him. His place. It's like,
right.
That's the best you could do.
Yeah.
Seriously. A first-year acting student could have done better.
Yeah, right. And there are a lot of Martin Lawrence moments where I'm like, this dude does not get it. And not only that, but Michael Bay doesn't know how to get it out of him.
No, he doesn't. You know what? The herpes face chick from Troll 2 delivered better dialogue.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. The dad from Troll 2 delivered better dialogue.
I mean, they at least did it with conviction.
Yeah, you don't piss on hospitality. He's not going to allow it.
That's right.
And that's what Martin Lawrence did to us. He pissed all over our movie-going hospitality.
Oh, God, didn't he?
I mean, John Sally, who's not even an actor, did better in scenes than Martin Lawrence did.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I want to talk now a little bit about the thing that got stuck in your craw as you watched it this time, and that is all of the police procedural stuff, which I think is sort of where you were headed with the dead body scene.
Oh, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the whole family.
None of these people would have jobs.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Why why would you just walk into a crime scene and start touching things
and start moving shit around
and moving things around?
Also, Will Smith told him not to call homicide.
Yes. And you're not even, who you're supposed to call. You're supposed to call it in. And then that way the crime scene investigators show up. The forensic team shows up. The medical examiner shows up. You do not touch anything on a crime scene, especially where there's a dead body. Right. This movie should have been over within the first 15 to 20 minutes if these two knuckle ducks don't just walk right in and contaminate the crime scene.
Right. The other thing,
God, they'd be fired.
Yeah, and at the top of the movie, when they think that this drug heist is an inside job, like, they're going to give them 5 days to figure it out? Like, no, the FBI is going to be there immediately if they think it's an inside job.
As soon as now, I might be wrong because it's been a little while, but as soon as they believe that it's an inside job, internal affairs takes over.
Yeah.
Depending on how big it is, like a multi-million-dollar drug case.
Right, like $100 million. That's what Will Smith said.
The FBI is coming in immediately.
Yeah, and they're going to be there before Will Smith gets there.
Yeah, and the state police are going to be backing them up. And if they believe it's an inside job in that precinct, everybody is on administrative leave until the FBI investigator who's in charge and the state police figure out what the hell's going on. It's primarily the FBI. The only reason why the state police are there is to do the grunt work.
It also drives me crazy that this is Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's bust, and they aren't considered suspects.
Not for a second. Marge Helgenberger suspects all of them. And it's like, apparently, it's almost like Joe Pantoliano's calling in favors to make sure that she can't shut them down.
Right.
Like, he's doing all kinds of political hoopla to keep from getting shut down. But Marge Helgenberger did it right. They're making her look like she's the antagonist. She's right.
Also, can we talk a minute about the heist? They shot a decoy cop to empty out the station, but as soon as a cop gets there to check on him, they're gonna know he's not a cop.
Right. Like, all you could have said was, I understand why they said they had a decoy cop, because it was to clear out the entire station.
Right.
That makes sense.
But when they get there and see his badge number and everything, they're all just like, most of them are gonna just go right back.
Yeah, in the time, number one, it's not going to empty an entire precinct. Your administrative staff is still going to be...
It's the Miami PD. There's a ton of people there.
Yeah, this isn't Podunk County, Florida. This is my fucking Miami.
Yeah.
They are not going to clear out an entire precinct for one. Now, granted, all of your street detectives and all of your patrol officers and your supervisor is going to be out there.
Most
but
of
your
the people,
administrative staff
that are going to show up to that crime scene are the people that are already not at the precinct.
Right. Your whole precinct is not going to. If your entire precinct empties, it better be a terrorist attack.
It better be a bomb threat in the precinct.
Exactly. Because the only time a police department is unmanned is if it is a small town.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, so that sort of drove me a little crazy too.
Well, and then the whole thing with how they couldn't get the file open, that makes absolutely no sense. And granted, I understand it was the 90s, but you still had IT people who, if they had to, could track your progress on a computer.
Yeah. I feel like to go back, to take just a step back for a minute.
Okay,
I think that this movie would have been a better movie if Will Smith and Martin Lawrence had been on administrative leave because they were suspects and they acted out and tried to solve the crime on their own.
That would be a lot better. That would have been a lot better. You could tell there was no technical advisor.
Right.
And if there was
drop Freaky Friday from this movie. We don't need that.
No.
Instead, let's have these guys are trying to clear their name. That's a movie I can sign up for.
That would have been a lot better. And then, oh my goodness, the whole protective custody at his house. Number one, the Freaky Friday aspect of it could have even been negated if he showed up and she goes, "Put your badge to the door." And he goes, "Listen, I am Mike Lowry's partner. I am Detective Sergeant Marcus Burnett. I know you want Mike Lowry. I know he's the only one you will talk to. I am the best way to get you to him. Here is my badge."
That drove me crazy. She had one conversation with her friend, and now this is the only guy she's going to trust that she's never met before?
Seriously. And I mean, she knew that Martin Lawrence wasn't Mike Lowry, because if this woman has talked about him and has described him, I'm sure she said that Mike Lowry was over 6 feet tall, brown skin and gorgeous. She didn't say
and
he
could
was
run 5 miles.
Yeah, without slowing down.
Yeah.
She did not say he looked like a freaking burnt troll.
Right. So.
And then he's always trying to, who the hell refers to himself by Lowry?
Yeah, here's the other thing, right? Is he started doing a Will Smith impression. But if she doesn't know that you're him, then you don't have to do an imitation of him. Just use his name.
This is Detective Lowry. How can I help you?
Right. I don't like that Freaky Friday shit just blows my mind apart. That not only that it was in the movie, but that no one thought it was a bad idea because it never worked for me. Like it never
Not even
worked.
for a second. And then Joe Pantoliano, he doesn't talk like that. You have to talk sexy. Talk sexy. It's like, no. Fratelli, no.
With
Cypher
all of that being
Fratelli.
said, I think the secret MVP of this movie is Chet the Doorman.
Chet the Doorman is, oh man. He was the guy that whatever coke that Joe Pantoliano couldn't snort, he took the rest.
Yeah, he was good. I liked that guy.
He was pretty funny. Shit, I forgot to give him the address.
Right.
That was actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But this movie, there's so much wrong with this movie. The police procedure is all wrong. The dialogue is just off. And I'm sorry, but if Internal Affairs has not only a court order, but an order from the police commissioner that you are all reassigned and the case is being taken from you, 4 dudes showing up to just cause a bloodbath, you are not going to be a cop tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless the police union backs you up like hell.
I don't know. They just had all the pieces, right? I mean, okay, let's imagine for a moment.
All right, I'm imagining.
That no one at the precinct knows that Will Smith is a trust fund baby, right?
All right.
And now let's have Will Smith show up the day after the drugs go missing with this car. Unknowing, right? He doesn't know that the drugs have gone missing yet, but he shows up. Like, how suspicious does he look now?
Oh, 150%. $100 million drug bust, and he just shows up. Hey, guys, I have this $100,000 car.
Right.
Put your hands up.
So, and now he has to solve it. Like, Martin Lawrence doesn't get suspended, right? He's not necessarily a suspect. And so he has to decide whether or not to help his partner on the down low to solve this crime.
I think that would be a you've already come up with 2 much better movies than this piece of shit we got.
Right. And so it's like Michael Bay had all the right ingredients to make a cake, but somehow he still made a pile of garbage.
Red hot garbage. He made the garbage
steaming yellow garbage
with little blue chunks. This is just terrible. And I'm sorry, the final action set piece is just, well, no, can we talk about the ice cream truck?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I love that part.
Now, Shane, I like to think that we're men of average to above average intelligence. Mm-hmm. We're smart individuals.
Yes.
We have an eye for detail in our own way. So, can you answer me a question? Now, they said in the movie how highly volatile ether is.
Yes.
And we're on the same page that, yes, ether is a very, very volatile and highly flammable substance.
Well, I will tell you that according to dictionary.com, ether is a pleasant-smelling, colorless, volatile liquid that is highly flammable.
Okay. So, and they have these things in metallic barrels, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they looked like beer kegs.
Yeah. So when metal hits concrete,
it does tend to spark up a little bit.
Now, highly volatile liquid, metal, thrown from a 75 mile an hour moving truck.
Yeah.
Do you think it's safe to say that there's going to be sparks?
Probably, yeah. And if a gun shooting it is going to make it explode, then definitely hitting concrete at 75 miles an hour should.
So why? And now, metal, when things explode in it, it's shrapnel. That's right. What's inside of hand grenades. Why in the hell was nobody harmed? Namely, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence for blowing up fucking barrels of ether on the highway.
Also, how were they not fired for that?
Yes, that you are causing.
You guys are not Indiana Jones in Asia somewhere. Like, this is Miami. You're on the freeway.
Yeah, and you're just blowing shit up. What am I smelling? What am I smelling?
Oh, I know. That's ether.
Let's blow this up.
Huh.
And then hey, let's go into this club. Yeah, I've got your 6. Yeah, you're about to get killed in a bathroom while I'm looking at scattered ass.
Also, a very good point. That club scene is ridiculous.
Everything about this movie is just horrible.
So, Brian, I posit that. Do you have anything else really?
Yeah. Fuck this movie, fuck this movie, fuck this movie, fuck this movie, and fuck this movie. Oh, did I say fuck this movie?
Yeah. Now, if you are here because you're a fan of Bad Boys and you're looking forward to the new film coming out, then we invite you to comment on this podcast and tell us how wrong we are.
I double dog dare you. I will fucking debate this movie with you so hard that I will give you a verbal wedgie.
I really can't wait because I feel like, Brian, this is the meanest we've been about a movie, and we did Troll 2.
We were actually kind of nice to Troll 2. This movie is horrible. Martin Lawrence is absolutely terrible in this movie. When Will Smith is running with his shirt off and like making me look at my baser latent homosexual tendencies, what the hell? Then they cut to Martin Lawrence. What the hell have you done? You jogged a half a block.
Yeah, and he also tried to lift,
up.
Let me do the math real quick, 45, 135, like 150 pounds he tried to bench in that gym and couldn't get it up.
Yeah, it's like seriously. You couldn't lift 135 pounds. You jogged a block, you jumped onto a cab, and you almost, you know what? I wish they would have run his Peasley ass over.
Now, I wanted to ask you this question.
Okay.
We know that the story has its problems, but if you could recast Martin Lawrence, who would you put there? 1995 actors, who could you put there that would be a good sort of counterpart to Will Smith?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Is this movie one, like, just for lack of a better name, Denzel Washington away from being a good movie?
Not Denzel, because honestly, he would steal every scene from Will Smith. And this is supposed to be a Will Smith vehicle. I think that's how Martin Lawrence got the job. They wanted someone that couldn't steal the scenes from Will Smith. I would go, all right, so here are, for this time period, here are the, let's say, 5 people that I would have cast in place of Martin Lawrence.
Okay.
Joe Torre,
who
was in Poetic Justice. He played Chicago in Poetic Justice, Tupac's friend.
Yeah.
I would have gone with Keenan Ivory Wayans of In Living Color fame. I would have gone, because we're going with a family man, so someone a little bit older than Will Smith's character. I would probably say, I would even go with maybe Michael Jai White, because he was 2 years away from Spawn, and he was maybe 3 years after playing Mike Tyson. So I think Michael Jai White would have been a decent choice. I think, and him, we already know that even though he wasn't a good actor in Spawn, he had really good chemistry with Theresa Randle. I would have maybe gone with, I kind of don't want to go there with this next pick, but I think it could have worked. John Leguizamo. Because John Leguizamo, when he wasn't, even other than The Pest, he hasn't really, other than The Pest and Super Mario Brothers, he hasn't been terrible. And for number 5, I would probably go with, and this is actually going to kind of be out there, so bear with me.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds just so I can get this guy's name right. I would probably go with Lawrence Mason, who played Tintin in The Crow.
Okay.
Just for the fact that even though he was supposed to be in his early 20s in Hackers at the time, because he was older than the rest of the group in Hackers, I could see him as being a more of a grounded family man character.
How do you feel about, and I'm just gonna spit comedians at you, since that's sort of where this originated, you know?
Okay, all right.
What about a Will Smith, Bernie Mac Bad Boys?
That could have worked as well. That's a good choice by you. That's a very good choice by you. I think Bernie Mac would have done very, very well
Doing
this.
Like Bernie Mac could have delivered Martin Lawrence's dialogue better.
Exactly. And you would have gotten the more family man, because here's the thing. Martin Lawrence, we're supposed to believe that Martin Lawrence was a guy that had 3 kids at this point. His oldest kid was probably about 10, 8, and like 4.
Yeah.
And so that would have put him as being in his early 30s, I want to say. He was born in 65, so he was 30 at this point. But it's like, I can't see it. I can't see Martin Lawrence as a family. I can't.
I'm also not mad at the idea, and we talked about this off air, of Eddie Murphy, since Martin Lawrence is just a poor man's Eddie Murphy.
I think the only thing is that Eddie Murphy would have probably stolen scenes.
He's too big.
He's way, even at the time, he was way too big. And people would have been expecting
what about 1995 Dave Chappelle?
Too young.
Too young for the family man.
Yeah, way too young to be too young to be a believable family.
I stand by Bernie Mac as my pick.
I could go with Bernie Mac as because you figure at this point Bernie Mac was born in 1955. Let me double check my math, and that would have made him 40 at the time, and I think he would have been perfect. Let's see, Bernie Mac,
and he was so good.
1957, so he would have been late 30s at this time.
Yeah, but he could have played older.
I think so.
The Bernie Mac show was probably a few years from starting in 95, but the Bernie Mac show was a family sitcom, so.
Yeah, let me see here. The Bernie Mac show was in 2001, so we're 6 years away.
Yeah.
At this point in time, he was about to do some guest spots because Moesha ran from 96 to 99. He was about 2 years away from doing his guest spot on the Wayans Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a year away from playing Flip in Above the Rim.
You're right.
So, Bernie Mac would have been able to do it. Steve Harvey could have done it. Even Cedric the Entertainer.
Do you think Steve Harvey would have been good, though?
I think so. I think Steve Harvey could have pulled it off. I mean, I think Steve Harvey could have done it. Cedric the Entertainer is a little bit younger than those guys.
Here's an interesting choice, and you might, again, let me do my math here. You might think he's a little too young, but I think that he could have been an interesting choice alongside Will Smith, a young Patton Oswalt. I mean, if you're gonna go Martin Lawrence is like not physically fit and stuff like that, then like get somebody that can really play that up, you know?
Do you really think that Patton Oswalt could have landed a Theresa Randle?
Well, I think if we're recasting Martin, then we have to recast her too. Randle. Yeah.
Yeah, but so then now you have Lethal Weapon in Miami with reverse roles. Okay. I could get down with that.
But I really think that Bernie Mac is our best option. Unless you want to give him somebody like Wanda Sykes.
You know what? No. I think that him and Wanda. I think him with Theresa Randle probably, surprisingly enough, I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked just fine. Yeah. I want to go back in time now.
And do a Bernie Mac.
Yeah, and have Bernie Mac and Will Smith. And then, granted, now that you have it where now they're not acting like brothers, but it's like, he's like, he's a hotshot detective, but he's been a detective for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, but it.
Something that I kept coming back to while I was watching this movie, and I think this is why I had a hard time focusing on it, is that neither of the protagonists are particularly likable.
Marcus Burnett definitely is not a likable character, and Mike Lowry is difficult to like because he's a womanizer.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, he's narcissistic. I mean, neither of them are likable people. No one in this movie is likable. and it's tough to invest 2 hours in a story where you don't want anybody to succeed.
There's only one character in this movie that's likable, and that's Max the prostitute.
Well, and also Chet the doorman. I am really pulling that Chet. I'm really hoping that in Bad Boys 3, Chet gets his badge.
Yeah. You know what? If I were changing this movie, if the studio
you make
says
Martin Lawrence the doorman and Chet is the partner.
Yeah. Or better yet, Martin Lawrence is not even in this movie. Martin Lawrence can't even get bagels for the cast.
Right.
I would have
run till that.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I would have Chet and Max make a love connection. Max doesn't die. She's just in a coma. And Chet goes to take her flowers for Mike because he's catching the guys that shot her. She wakes up. She sees them. Love at first sight. And then they go to Key West where Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal's characters from Running Scared have their bar. And they live there and live happily ever after.
I love it. I think that we can both agree that a world in which this movie was not made is probably a better world, but a world in which this movie was made with Bernie Mac instead of Martin Lawrence is probably the best we could hope for.
Yeah, because I'm pissed off that they took the title from the Sean Penn film that was made 14 years sooner.
Yeah.
12 years sooner. That is a much better movie. I'm sorry, Bad Boys with Sean Penn is a much better movie than this.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've run it into the ground enough, man.
Good. Hopefully we can send it to China and leave it there.
Yeah, next week we have a real award winner, too.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus
We are
Christ.
really in the weeds with Smith Timber now.
We are digging. We're going to the bottom of the barrel of Will Smith Timber.
Yeah.
Thank God, though, we get to get out of it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, next week we'll be hitting up Wild Wild West.
Oh,
now,
God. Why did they have to put poor Kevin Kline in that?
Now, you know what's interesting? Like that movie, and I'm sure we'll talk about it next week. I don't know that I can think of a movie that was more obviously designed to spawn a franchise that did not spawn a franchise than Wild Wild West.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad is coming out with a sequel.
Okay. Let's see. Super Mario Brothers, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat had 2 movies, and they're coming out with another one.
Aragon, Dungeons and Dragons,
maybe.
Dragonheart.
The point stands, though, that this was clearly designed to be. This was not just supposed to be a standalone. This was supposed to be.
I'd rather watch Velocipaster and Velocipaster 2, Back to the Seminary.
I really hope we get a Velocipaster 2.
I would love to have Velocipaster 2, and then he goes up against a Veloci Rabbi.
I like that. But he could be a let's see, a Rabbisaurus, a Rabbiceratops,
a Rabidactyl.
Yes, Rabidactyl. I love it.
Velocipaster versus Rabidactyl.
Oh man, that is excellent. Hey everybody, while we have you, if you are still out there, Rabidactyl is the best idea I've ever heard.
By the way, please check out the movie Velocipaster. It's one of those films. I have to give a short review, like very, very short. It's everything that's great about Troll 2 made today.
Yeah.
It
And
doesn't
it's
take
clearly like a throwback to Grindhouse and the
It-
over the top premise and all of that.
Yeah, it's like Troll 2 meets
Planet Terror.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah.
So, and it's not meant
and
to
you
take-
want to go ahead and watch this movie because we've got some stuff coming up in the not too distant future related to this film that we can't quite talk about yet, but
right.
uh,
But as soon as we can talk about it and it comes more to fruition, it's going to be a great bonus episode for the Plotaholics. It's going to be our biggest show to date, actually.
I think so, yeah. But outside of that and outside of Bad Boys and outside of Will Smith Timber,
Fuck Bad Boys.
our voting is officially open for our listeners' Halloween. So at least the first week when this podcast goes up, you'll have a day left to vote on the first film that we do in October. And those films are The Haunting, Darkness Falls, Evil Dead, The Exorcist, and Poltergeist.
OG Exorcist and OG Poltergeist.
Yeah, and I think OG Evil Dead too.
Yeah, we can go with that. I mean, we could.
I feel like we owe it to Sam Raimi after what happened to him in Spider-Man 3.
Touche. Touche.
So I'd like to, if it wins, and it is leading right now.
Yes, it is. Last we checked, at this point, at the time that you're listening to this, you still have another day to vote. Go to plotaholics.com or go to our Facebook page at Plotaholics.
Yeah,
and
at
vote.
this point on Wednesday, though, Evil Dead is leading with 40% of the vote.
Which is major. And I can't wait because there is so much of that movie to dissect.
Yeah.
I can't wait. But so
you've still got a couple of, like, The Exorcist and Poltergeist are hanging in there with 20% each. And then the other two are kind of getting left behind. So
yeah. I was told by somebody that Poltergeist or The Exorcist, that's my shit. And I said, well, go and vote.
Right. Go and vote, man. Hey.
Let your voice be heard.
That's right.
There is no electoral college with the Plotaholics. Majority wins.
Rule. Yeah. And so we'll be doing 3 films as decided by you, the listeners. And so every week for the next 3 weeks, we'll have a poll up on plotaholics.com and all of our social media where you can vote for your favorite film. So get on the lookout for that and get ready for a October full of shenanigans, because our Velocipaster bonus episode will air in October, Brian, and also we are covering the Indigo Moon Film Festival in October.
Woo!
So October is shaping up to be a big month for the Plotaholics.
It's going to be a busy month, but it's going to be a great month for content. And please, by all means, share our posts, subscribe to the podcast, share us with your friends, because, be a super fan like Kelly out there, or Anita or Mike, tell your friends, man, because I think we're damn entertaining, Shane.
I think so too. I mean, it makes me laugh. But sometimes, like tonight, you have to laugh to keep from crying.
I really think so, because honestly, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, the plot could have been so much better if a few things are changed differently, but a lot of the writing it puts itself into a very bad corner because it takes itself out of realism. And I understand it's fantasy, it's supposed to be a movie, but I'm sorry, if you have too many things that are just improbable, it's useless. And it's like the writers, I'm not saying that they tried to put something bad out there, but because every movie is a cash grab, Shane.
Yeah, you know what it feels like to me listening to you talk, and it feels like when they finished the first version of the screenplay, they had a decent movie, and it was probably only an hour long. And so they were like, how do we make it longer? And somebody was like, I've got it. How about we do a subplot where they have to impersonate each other for like 45 minutes?
Yeah, that makes sense. And this is a movie that was shot on a $19 million budget and made $141 million at the box office.
And that is on the back of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, just name recognition.
Right, exactly. And I think that this movie is like the rise of Will Smith and like the decline of Martin Lawrence.
It's also, I think, probably due in part to the popularity of the television show Cops and that theme song.
Absolutely.
And, like,
Absolutely.
calling this movie Bad Boys and having them sing it in the movie and in the trailers, just like people just got on that.
Oh
bandwagon.
my God. At that time, that song was one of the biggest songs in the world.
Yeah.
At that point. So yeah, I mean, but you know, the story, the cinematography, there isn't anything in this movie that stands out as wow. The cinematography, I mean, all right, the piss yellow, in some aspects of it, it's like, yeah, that can be a very pretty color if it's done at a different time or in a different spot. You know, the cinematography didn't do it for me. The overall writing and the dialogue and the chemistry of the actors. I mean, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, in spite of the dialogue, do have decent enough chemistry. The problem is, though, is that Martin Lawrence just drags it down when he opens his mouth, and his screen presence is terrible.
Yeah,
and
if you want to watch Will Smith in a buddy cop movie, just skip to Men in Black.
Exactly. That's what I would do. Or better yet, skip to Hancock.
Yeah.
And enjoy his and Jason Bateman's chemistry, because it's much better.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, I think that's probably going to do it for us for tonight.
Yeah, we've beaten this movie to death far too much, I think.
Yeah, I was worried we wouldn't have a lot to say, but turns out we did just fine.
The hate has dragged us through.
Right.
I can't imagine what it's going to be like when we do when it's time for Wild Wild West.
I'm excited because, again, Wild Wild West to me is a movie that's on the right side of the Deep Blue Sea threshold.
That's true.
It's crazy. Like, that movie is bad, but it's bananas, so it's kind of fun.
Bananas.
Right. So it's a little bit more fun, I think, to sit through than this was. It's less tedious. And that's really, that's what it is. It's tedium. Like, I don't need to get bogged down in your tedium. And if there's ever been a quote come out of my mouth that should be on a shirt, it's that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get bogged down in your tedium.
I just, you know what? I feel like this movie just hit me in the kneecap with a baseball bat, hit me in the back like 4 or 5 times, and then rubbed my face into the carpet where I peed.
Yeah. Right into your tedium.
Right into my tedium. It just hit me in my tedium.
Your pedium.
My tedium, and my pancreatic sac.
There you go. All right, man. Well, I don't know. I'm exhausted.
I am too, but I still have to exercise.
All right. Well,
so maybe I can exercise the anger out of my system.
Yeah, hopefully. I watched this movie twice, and I feel like I've still only seen it 1/2 times.
I've watched this movie more times than I care to admit, and I seriously feel like my ex-girlfriend from high school just kicked me in my balls and said that you are the Black Rob Gordon. Nice throwback to Summer of Cusack.
Yeah, a much better time in my life at this point. But I'm going to get clean.
As we look back.
I'm going to get clean for a couple of days, and I'll be ready to go with some more plot binging next week. So for the Plotaholics, as always, you can check us out at plotaholics.com. But that's going to do it for us for tonight. I'm Shane Wilson.
And I'm Bryan Tan.
And we will talk to you again real soon.
Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send the phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
Sometimes the end game is the perfect place to start.
We're in the end game now.
And other times you want to pretend the prequels were never a real thing. Let's just pod race to the end.
It's working!
Every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow. Whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics. A breakfast club or two. We are the Plotaholics. plots apart for you. Shane and Bryan are an island, two real-life misfit toys, wanting to be a RoboCop.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Settling for Black Circle boys, and just like Dr. Hammond, extracting amber from wood.
And later there's running and
A
screaming.
little too busy asking if we could, and never asking if we should. But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.